Good afternoon, Bournemouth fans. Hope you're all right this Sunday. Just a heads up, we've got an interview with Ted McDougall. That's coming up on the channel tonight, including a chance to win one of 3 copies of McDougall. Be interesting to hear what he's got to say about AFC Bournemouth's new potential manager. Maybe that's something we'll ask him. Of course, we'll go over his career, including those 9 FA Cup goals, that record when we beat Margate 11-0. Great days. But this video is all about the here and now. And of course, we're looking for a new manager. There's so many names that are being mentioned on Twitter, on all the betting sites. Some of them are better than others, we've got to say. And we're going to go through it in a tier list. So what's a tier list? I'll hear you cry. This is what a tier list is. We've got 5 categories here, and we've got all the names that have been mentioned from the Odds Checker website. Of course, there will be some people that people want, but if it's not on Odds Checker, we won't have added it. So you can see there, we've got the likes of Chris Coleman, we've got Gary Monk, Paul Cook, Nigel Pearson, Harry Redknapp's even in there, Frank Lampard, and a load of names that probably aren't even interested in the job, but we're going to rank them in one of 5 categories. And those categories are want, realistic, want, but not realistic, would take it, not for me, and no. So yeah, those are the categories for today, but I can't do it alone. To help me do it, we have got pod regular Neil Dawson with us. Neil, how are you?
Yeah, very good. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting people's opinions. Now, there's about 22 names, so we'll have to zip through them relatively quickly. So there's some that we'll just have to put straight in a category and barely scratch the surface. Another person to help is Jeff Hayward, who's here. Jeff, you right?
Yeah, looking forward to this too.
Brilliant. And also, of course, Tom Jordan. You right, mate?
Yeah, looking forward to this one as we go.
Right, so what we're going to do then, we're going to do it from left to right in order. So whatever order this is placed into, I think it's actually alphabetical by their first name. So what we're going to do is bring it up on screen with us now. And the first person is Alex Neil, the former manager of Norwich City. Tom, I'll put this one over to you. We can have a general discussion, but then we need to rank him and see where you want to put him.
It's a difficult one, really. He's done all right at Norwich and he's at Preston doing all right at the moment, but I can't stand him. Yeah, so, but I mean, he's done all right, hasn't he, to be fair? He's done all right, and he's found out a way of beating Bournemouth, I tell you, because at Preston and Norwich, he's beat us a few times, but not for me.
Not for me. Are we all in agreement with that? Not for me?
Yeah, very
too dour.
Very irritating guy.
All right, and we'll go round next then to Neil, who's Neil Dawson, and you've got Chris Coleman, a name that's been not mentioned much on Twitter, but he's there on the Odds Checker website as being one of the managerial options, a little bit lower down, not a favourite, but he is in the running.
Yeah, do you know what? I never thought of him. So he caught me on the hop a little bit with this one. Liked what he did with Wales. Wasn't convinced. So Fulham fans loved him and then fell out with him because his complete inability to attack at home. And then he took that to Sunderland. So I think international football suits him better. Not for me.
Not for me. Jeff, would you agree with that?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And Tom's loving it as well. So yeah, not for me as well. So Jeff, you've got Danny Cowley.
So Danny Cowley, obviously, made a big impression. Was it Lincoln, wasn't it, where him and his brother did amazing things? And the Cowley brothers, it's a bit like a I don't know. It sounds weird. Whenever I hear that, I think of Del Boy. Like they're running some sort of dodgy business, the Cowley brothers. But they've done great things. So they got a big step up, with Huddersfield, and it didn't work out for them there. And I'm not quite sure why their magic didn't work there, because they were like, bright young things of English management. I would put them in the not for me category purely because I think what we're looking for is somebody who's got proven credentials for getting a team up. This is not about an experiment. This is about getting a series of results together from this team that's going to get us promoted.
Right. So this, I would have my say. I'll tell you who I'd quite like to have, but this is about you. So we'll go back to Tom then. And you've got David Wagner or Wagner.
Yeah, interesting one, that one. I think similarly with with Cowley, it's one of them that I think. I'm not sure. Wagner had done he got Huddersfield promoted, which was pretty special at the time. I can't remember them. They didn't play great football. I think they were one of the first teams to go up with a negative goal difference. But having said that, he had the hands he was dealt. Huddersfield didn't have an array of talent like we do, and he got them promoted, and he's done all right. To be honest, I think Wagner's got an all right. I'd probably go. I'll take it. I would take it.
Yeah, and Neil, you.
I looked him on the X Factor. I thought he was great. He was great.
Oh yeah, superb.
I'm still smiling. Yeah.
I was looking at his recent record for. I think it was it Schalke or someone?
Not great.
He set a record for a season not getting a win from a season start. So he would be a not for me. But we got to put him in the would take it because that's what Tom said.
Yeah. Okay. We'll put it in the would.
I think anyone who speaks with a German accent, we're in danger of thinking they're Jurgen Klopp. But
you know what?
Go on.
I know he's German. It's nothing to do with it, but I just don't like his accent, and it's not because he's German. I can handle Klopp, but he's just got this. Oh, you know what? It's just not for me. I'm afraid.
Well, I think he's definitely Klopp light is Wagner. I want to call him Wagner. It's bloody opera.
Wagner. Neil,
he'll get a tune out of us.
Oh, that's superb. Neil, then. So you've got a certain Eddie Howe.
Oh.
Oh, what are you going to do?
No.
What are you going to do, Tom?
No. I mean, I wanted Eddie to stay because I think he would have. I think we all wanted Eddie to stay. There was only a couple that didn't, wasn't there, across the fan base. I'm convinced that he would have gone back to his more attacking ways that he abandoned in the Premier League, and I think he would have made better signings or different signings. He'd have persuaded the board to. He would have recognised that we needed a left back and a centre forward, I think, and not two central midfielders. I think it would lift the whole club if he came back. So, if you're asking me, then I would definitely want. But I think things would have to change with the people at the top level for him to come back. Would be my guess.
So, do you think it's not realistic then? It's a want,
but not realistic. Sadly, I would say.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Is there such a thing as a third coming?
No,
because second time around he was better than first time around. Well, first time around is pretty genius, but second time around was even better. Third time, I just wonder whether it might be, I don't know, the wrong decision maybe to do it. I don't know.
Ross Biggins had about 5 comings, didn't
he? Yeah. Well, Jeff, I'll tell you what. There's a Chelsea pairing that we're going to be coming on to, the first of which is next, and you've got the responsibility of Frank Lampard. It's him and JT, John Terry, that is, that have been the names have been mentioned more than any others. But Frank, obviously released by Chelsea, he's been manager at Derby. Thoughts on him?
Well, he's available. He's got championship experience at Derby. He's got connections in the area because he's part of the Redknapp family. But obviously got found out in the Premier League being a little bit naive. Also, actually, he's got experience of working for Russian billionaires, so that could be useful. Want, but not realistic, I'd say.
Yeah, Tom, Neil, do you think he's not realistic?
We're too small for him. Yeah. So I would have him because I think he's really articulate. And I think he's, he might not be a top 4 manager yet, but he needed to do an apprenticeship and he didn't do a long enough one. He took the Chelsea job too early, but I just don't. I think he will be looking for a club of a Derby, Forest, Sheffield Wednesday type size with a good owner, not us.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's virtually almost said he wasn't interested, or someone said that anyway. Happy for it to go in that, but personally, I'm quite happy he's not interested. Not for me anyway.
Okay, you got Gary Monk then, Tom.
Yeah.
I got Gary Monk. That's an interesting one. How long's he been without a job? I can't even remember where he was last at. He's been at a few clubs now, hasn't he? I mean, I remember he'd done a decent job at Swansea, been at Birmingham, hadn't he? Was he at Borough as well?
Yeah, so he was so Swansea, Leeds, Middlesbrough, Birmingham, and then Sheffield Wednesday last. He was there from 6th of September to the 9th of November. So not a long time with a 31% win record. His best record was at Leeds United, 47%, where he was in charge for just short of a year. So yeah, he's got some big clubs that he's managed, but would he be interested in us?
Potentially, I guess, because he hasn't got the stock to say, to kind of hold out. I wouldn't have thought. Having said that, nah, not for me.
Neil, Jeff, not for you?
No.
Not a good enough record for me. No.
Too many in different jobs since Swansea.
There's a name that has been touted on Odds Checker, Gus Poyet, and that name came out of nowhere. Neil, this one's yours.
Great, you're catching me out with all of these. Gus Poyet, I loved when he was at Brighton. I remember they came here in League One, I'm pretty sure it was, and they played Premier League football against us, and none of us had seen anything like it. And it's very similar to the style of football that we've tried to do for the last year and a half, just constant control of the ball from the back. And I don't know where he went after that, but certainly I would take it. I would have him in my category. I'd want him. I'd be happy with that.
Yep. Tom?
Yeah, I agree with Neil. It's kind of caught me off guard a little bit, that one, because I can't remember. I remember him at Brighton and thinking, he's going to be a top manager, but I don't really know what happened.
Here it is. He was at Brighton, obviously, for 4 years, went to Sunderland for a couple, and then it's all abroad. AEK Athens, Real Betis, Shanghai, so he had his payday for a bit, and then Bordeaux in French League, and that was up until September 2018. So he's been out of management for a long while.
And Bordeaux, he had a famous incident where he basically criticised the chairman for getting a player in that he didn't want, or selling a player he didn't want, and basically had a public bust up at a press conference, got fired.
Okay, so what was it that you went for, Neil?
Well, I'll be quite happy for him to come. So want and realistic, but what I don't want anyone to think is that's my first choice. But no. If he came, I would be all right with that. Okay,
right. So Harry Redknapp, you know what? He's never not going to be mentioned. He could be 90 and people would still be mentioning him.
Just can't. I just can't see it. I can't see it. I mean, I just can't see it. Harry. No, it's gone though. No, I'm going to put that in the not for me category.
Not for me. So not quite in the bottom category.
I love him, but not for me.
All right, right then, Tom.
Yeah,
John Terry.
Oh, you've given me John Terry. Worked that well, didn't you? Worked that well. Yeah. I mean, it's just he's the favourite for the job. There's what's confusing me is with the fan base. I seem to see a lot of people agreeing with me that we need someone with a CV, experience. We need someone now to come in. We're not about a project now. We need someone to come in and get us up. And then they're hearing John Terry going, yeah, I'll take that. He hasn't managed anyone. What are you talking about? No way. No.
He hasn't even got his coaching license yet. Come on.
Don't want him near the football. I hate him for a start. He hasn't got any managerial experience. That's the last thing we need right now. I think it'd be different if we were in a bit of a transition in the Premier League or whatever. And if we weren't to go up and next year him coming, I'd kind of be a little bit more okay. Yeah. But right now, I want someone with a CV, and yeah, not for me.
Okay, so that is not the bottom category, but we're going to go for not for me. Is that right?
No, put in the bottom category.
In the bottom category. All right, we're doing it. There we go. That's the bottom category. Now, Neil, you've got current caretaker manager Jonathan Woodgate there.
Ooh.
So it's a tough one, this one. So he will have learnt a lot in his period at Middlesbrough. So a lot of people are saying, look at it, he's had one spell at management. So he took a Middlesbrough side who lost their parachute payments, had to jettison Tony Pulis. He took over a squad that was full of Tony Pulis players. So there was only so much you can do with that, with no transfer budget, and he had to blood the kids. I know this because I've got a mate who's a Borough fan, and I had a good catch up with him about this the other day. And he said, look, when you put all of those circumstances together, he didn't actually do that bad a job. And his only criticism of him, bizarrely, was that he thought he was quite inarticulate and not the brightest guy in press conferences and not that motivational. Could have done with a bit more of a personality. So I think the jury's out on him. I don't think he's as bad as some people have painted him. I want to see him do a lot more, over a period of time. So I would put him probably in the would take it box.
Yeah, and you know what? I do agree with that because, I think the next couple of matches will perhaps enforce that opinion, or maybe not, and it'll be really interesting to see what happens. So, right, Jeff, you got Mark Hughes.
Mark Hughes, really? Someone's suggesting Mark Hughes.
Sorry, but yeah.
No, I mean, come on.
Touch the face if you want.
Yeah, no.
We're talking bottom category.
Why? Let's try and give a reason. I don't think he's a particularly great coach. I think his track record is not particularly brilliant. I think he has lots of people in the media who talk him up as a great manager, but actually the results speak for themselves, and I don't think they're particularly good, and I don't think he'd be able to get the best out of our team to play in a way that's right for our team.
Yeah, okay, so I'll put that in the bottom category. Tom, I'm going to give you Mark Mosley, who's next on the list.
Mark Mosley?
Yeah, it's been mentioned. I mean, I got to put it in, but maybe a quick one.
Yeah, no, keep it quick and simple. I mean, absolutely not, but we'll just, because we love Mark Mosley, we'll put him in the not for me rather than at the bottom. But yeah, I mean, he's bottom. I think he needs to try and stay in the Football League with Southend first, doesn't he, before he's trying to get into the Premier League. But love him, but no.
He did a brilliant job at Weymouth, and he's actually doing a really good job at Southend. Not that the league position demonstrates it, because he's got them up and firing, and I think potentially he could be a manager in the future for us, just not this time round. But he, the one thing I always remember about him, which has always made me really like him, was I sat in front of him at Watford a couple of seasons ago when we had the heavy win. And he came as a fan with his little lad, and he was in the row behind us. And you could not have, he was like us three would have been at that match. He was up, he was shouting, he was swearing, he was having a go at the referee. He went mad at every goal. And I couldn't help but think, if it works out from a Southend, one day I'd love to have someone that passionate about Bournemouth running our club, because I've not seen anyone. Ex-players normally just sort of sit there and clap. He was amazing.
I agree with what Neil's saying, by the way, as well. There's a few in there that I think it's the circumstance right now. So, your Mark Mosley, even John Terry, I don't like. There's certain ones in there that I think in the future, if in different circumstances, I'd be on board. But right now, we got to realise the predicament we're in. I think that's the key reason behind a lot of these.
Right, so next on the list, Neil, you've got Nathan Jones, who's currently at Luton Town, and his name has been mentioned on Odds Checker. Bit of an interesting one.
So I think he falls into the reason why other people are wary about having Eddie Howe as a manager for other clubs. So he did really well at Luton, then he went off to Stoke, didn't he, where he was an abject disaster, and the Stoke fans couldn't wait to get shot of him. And then he's gone back to Luton and he's done an all right job there. So I think he's in that category of one club manager type guy, which is why I always worry for Eddie getting jobs elsewhere, because he had the spell at Burnley, didn't set the world alight. So no, I would say on his Stoke experience, not for me.
Not for me. Okay, so next we've got probably one of the front runners, you could say, on Twitter at least, Nigel Pearson, Jeff.
Nigel Pearson.
If you don't know the answer to that question, then I think you are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand.
I think Nigel Pearson could be all right for us because he did well for Leicester. He did well for Watford. I think he was unlucky to lose his job. Well, unlucky. Unfortunate circumstances at Leicester. And I think Watford, it's just crazy. If you stay there longer than 10 games, you've done well. So he'll get the players motivated. He'll get them putting a lot of energy in around the pitch. And actually, I don't think he'd be a bad choice. So,
where are you going to put him?
I would say he could be in the want realistic category.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, Patrick Vieira's name's been mentioned, Tom. I think I know which category this is going in, so you might want to cut to the chase, but it's up to you.
Oh, it's a horrible one for me, this, because everything that I say about what I want in a manager, Patrick Vieira is a definite no. But I love him.
That's a different show, Tom.
Yeah. So I just love the thought of Patrick. I mean, when I first started watching football, one of the favourite players I used to watch, and I can't imagine him managing Bournemouth. No. It's like amazing, but I've got to be serious with it, and I just don't. But I love him. So I don't think it's realistic anyway. So just put him in one not realistic with Eddie and Frank.
Yeah. Okay. So Paul Cook's for you then next, Neil Dawson.
No. Irritating, cliche-ridden Scouser.
Is that the bottom category?
Just on his radio interviews alone, just listening to go out there and work ever so hard. I couldn't listen to that on his radio interviews alone. I think he's one of those people who's a decent lower league manager, gets teams riled up, gets them fired up. I can't see what he's going to do with players like Rico or Jack Wilshere. Just no, not at all.
All right, Jeff, talk to me about Rafa Benitez.
Oh my God, yes, but totally unrealistic.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen, is it?
Not a million years.
I mean, can you imagine Newcastle fans if Rafa comes to us? They'll go potty.
Oh, right. Okay. So
it said to me 10 years ago, we're doing a tier list about the next Bournemouth manager, and there's a section with Eddie Howe, Frank Lampard, Patrick Vieira, and Rafa Benitez. What is going on?
I absolutely love it. Yeah, I mean that's how it looks at the moment. Right then, so next on the list, who have we got? We've got Slavin Bilitch, and that's you, Tom.
You're sounding very neutral there, Slavin.
To be fair, I don't care.
That's another one that I think would probably go in that section with Rafa. I mean, I would love him. I think Bilić is brilliant. I think he's. I know a few West Ham fans that really felt he was hard done by there as well. My problem is I've realised he's in China. That cost a fortune to get him. So I would have him definitely. I'm not sure if it's realistic, so I think it's going to be another one in that. But I would be chuffed with Bilić for experience, for the type of manager he is. I think he'd get the best out of the group, but I just don't think it's realistic. But I would love him.
Okay, so Neil's. I'm just working out who's got the last one here. I think it's going to fall nicely back to you, Tom, for the last one. So you can wax lyrical over.
I can't even work out who my one is. Who's that?
So yours is Slavisa Jokanovic.
Oh, right. Yeah. So he was. He was a guy I wanted in the. So there was a few names that I wanted in the summer when Eddie went, and he was on my list or top of my list for in the summer. So I don't know. I guess it falls into the Slavin Bilitch account. I think he's in Qatar or somewhere, isn't he, earning a fortune? So it depends. As with Bilić, I think the two of them fall in the same category. We would love to have them, but it depends on what the financial situation is in terms of getting them away. But so. Yeah, I would want him. Not sure how realistic it is, but only because of the situation of where he is currently.
So want and realistic. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Tom, how do you feel about him? Because it's so weird. Like when I think about Watford managers that seem to have been there for a long time, relatively, he's the one. Now he joined in 7th of October 2014. He got them promoted to the Premier League and then was sacked. He lasted 9 months at Watford, which, to be fair, is
a lifetime.
A long time for that.
You get a gold carriage clock for that at Watford.
Yeah.
And then he was at Fulham, wasn't he, Sam? Is that right?
He was at Fulham, and he was there for quite a while as well, actually. He was there for 2-3 seasons, maybe. 2.5 seasons or whatever it was. So, yeah, I mean, at Watford, he had a 58% win record. At the moment, he's in one of the United Arab Emirates, I think, countries. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, I quite like him, to be fair.
Yeah, I'd have him. I think, he's over there, but I reckon he'd fancy it, and he seems like the right sort of character as well. I like him when I've seen him, and what he's got the best out of players, and I think you'd want to play for him, and he'd get that out here. So I'd definitely take him 100%.
Right, so Jeff, you've got Steve Robinson.
Steve Robinson is a legend at the club, and he's somebody. I mean, he played with Fletch. He's been through a lot of the club's darker times and scored a lot of really fantastic goals for us. If he was a better manager, if he had a better track record, I would love it to be Steve Robinson. Sadly, I think his career at Motherwell, it got him to the cup final in Scotland, which was great. He's done some good stuff with Northern Ireland as part of their team. But I just don't think he's got the experience of Championship football, the hard-nosed sort of on-the-ground experience of managing an English football team and getting them to be successful. He'd be too big a risk. I think maybe another time, I think he needs another club before we look at him. And actually, probably he's taken a break now from Motherwell. He resigned or was fired or whatever, recently. He's taken a break. I just don't think he'd want to take it anyway. So not for me.
Tom, Neil, you in agreement?
Yeah.
Yeah, for all the same reasons.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Okay, then. So, Tom, it falls to you.
Yes.
Tackle Tony Pulis, someone whose odds recently have dropped dramatically. Talk to me.
I mean, I think they've dropped. I think we've said it off air. I think they dropped because of the link with Woodgate. Obviously, he's local, Pulis, and Woodgate worked under him at Borough. We mentioned Harry Redknapp earlier, and we were talking about, obviously an I'm a Celebrity winner. I would take Joe Pasquale before I took Tony Pulis. Name any I'm a Celeb winner you want. Please don't do it. And I mean, that the odds drop scared me. And everything, the fact that he's in the area, the fact that Woodgate randomly come in, did he have a say? Is he? I don't know, but just please no. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that I'm young enough to not really remember when Pulis was here before. My old man has told me that was the only time that he couldn't go. He had seen a ticket, but he could not go and watch it. The amount of people I've heard that when Pulis went in, they just couldn't watch.
But his footballing style does not match the asset.
Shut up.
I don't want your opinion on this, Sam, at all.
What were you going to say, Sam?
Yeah, go on.
No, I was talking about Tony Pulis. Is with the players that we've got, his style of management does not match players that we've got. It would be an awful decision.
Thank God for that. Cheers.
I thought you were going to say it would be a breath of fresh air. So.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think we've got anything to worry about because I think our upper echelons don't like any challenge. I think that's why they went with Jason Tyndall. If you're bringing Tony Pulis in, you're bringing someone in that will fall out with everyone at the senior level of a club. He always does, and I just think it's highly unlikely to happen. Highly unlikely.
On the plus side, we'd get better long throws out of Lloyd Kelly.
Yeah, we would,
and we'd probably have better set pieces.
Yeah,
on the downside, the other rest of it would be a nightmare.
To be fair, he'd probably do a similar thing to what Eddie did when he first come back in, and that's get Fletcher out of retirement and get him playing again. So,
Chris Biggins before. Tony Pulis.
Chris Biggins. I'd have Biggins and a Pasquale duo before I have Tony Pulis.
Tony Blackburn,
first ever winner. Good knowledge.
Right, so there we go. There is our completed tier list. What are you thinking about that at home? Let us know in the comments. It'd be really interesting to hear what you say. And over the next few days, I'm sure more names will be thrown into the ring as well. So out of those people that are in the want and realistic category, then we've got Poyet, Pearson, and Jokanovic. Shall we appoint our manager now out of those three? Obviously, hypothetically, who would we like?
I would go for. I haven't really changed my opinion on this in the last week. Actually, I think while it doesn't excite me, which probably a managerial appointment should, I would go for Pearson because I think he will he's got that strength of personality to take on some of the players that have shirked it. He's a fairly attacking manager. I think he would get us better organised. And I think with the squad that we've got, all we need is organisation. The squad is good enough to, as it proved yesterday, it played abjectly yesterday, scored 3 goals and 1. We've got some outstanding players, and I think he's bright enough. And he put in a real pitch for it, didn't he? Someone put it on Twitter last night. He put in a real pitch for the Bournemouth job on TV last night.
He's got a point to prove, Sam, and I like managers who've got a point to prove because it means they're hungry to success rather than just taking the salary. And he's got a massive point to prove.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree. Yeah, I can't disagree with what the two guys are saying there. I've never been a fan of Nigel Pearson in terms of him. I think he comes across a bit of a bully boy kind of character. I feel, but it would probably be a bit disingenuous for me to then say I don't want that because I want these lads to get a kick up the backside, get them organised, like Neil says. So I would certainly take it. I think just to go a little bit different in that category that we've got. If I had the pick of them 3 in that want and realistic category, I would go Jokanovic. But I don't know how. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Knowing his job is in Arab Emirates, we don't really know what his situation is. But if we're going to say, for argument's sake, he is realistic, then he would be my tip just ahead of Pearson. But I would, Pearson's the type of character I potentially hope we need. But Joe Pasquale's warming to me more the more we talk about it.
Exactly, yeah. One of the things about Nigel Pearson, obviously the board will have their own favourites and people that they'll want. Now, there's been these rumblings. Of course, we interviewed Eddie Mitchell, and he's got a bit of a terse character. And also Pearson has as well. His kind of weird things that he does. He's a bit of an odd bod. His mentions of calling a journalist an ostrich, getting his team into the news when they didn't need to. That weird touchline incident where he almost strangled an opposition player. He was a bit hands-on with him. He does funny things. Do you think the club would be wanting to invite someone like him because it's possibly not their cup of tea?
There's a problem. It's a problem, isn't it? Because I look at the, like we've mentioned a few times there. Neil made me feel better by mentioning that they probably wouldn't want a Pulis, but I think I could almost make a case with every single one of their managers. Would the board want them? Do you know what I mean? I think that's what's difficult, because I feel like with the Jason appointment, it's like, do they want someone, a bit more of a yes man, so to speak, someone that wouldn't cause any problems? And I think a lot of them people that we've mentioned there would potentially do that. Having said that, I think I tell you what, yeah, that's. Why could we have had Pearson when we had Ryan Fraser around? If that's what. But yeah, I think.
That picture paints a really unfortunate. Apparently, it wasn't that bad.
No,
I thought it wasn't that bad. Then I seen that. I thought, oh god, it's a difficult one, Sam. You make a good point with the board and things like that. I think it is a difficult one, but the fact of the matter is, Denham's going to be thinking about his pockets, and we need to get back to the Premier League. And at the end of the day, if we get a manager in that's going to roll a few rockets up the players, and potentially, get us back where we need to be, then I'm sure they'll take that for a few disagreements with someone. I think that is realistic, and I think that could be a shout as well. I think we're saying about Pearson. I think he would take the job. So interesting.
My fear is that I think that Neil Blake likes to be seen with the right people, and those images quite important to him, and that's why I fear that we'll get John Terry, because I think he would quite like having John Terry as someone that he can knock around with, and again, John Terry is new, so wouldn't be it doesn't come like Pearson where he would give the board a hard time for the players they've signed or stuff like that. He'd just be grateful to have the job. So that's why I think John Terry keeps popping up on lists, but because I think that Pearson would be too much of a challenge for the board. But this is what we want, isn't it? Not what the board want. So
it's what the board's priority is. If the genuine priority is to get back in the Premier League, you cannot take a risk. You've got to get somebody with a proven track record. Pearson's your man.
Yeah.
So there's the completed tier list then. So let us know what you think. Gentlemen, it's been a lot of fun today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Cheers,
Sam. Joe Pasquale.
Come on! And remember, we've got the Ted McDougall interview that's coming up tonight on the channel. So make sure you join us. That is at 8 o'clock, and we'll have our second look video going over minute by minute that 3-2 win over Birmingham City. Until tonight, see you later.